Hey everyone, so today I thought I'd show you 5 different ways to apply concealer, because concealer is one of those things that I think if you get it right it looks really good, and if you get it wrong it looks worse than kind of if you hadn't used any at all. There are numerous ways to use concealer. We're just going to be talking about the eye area. If you're going to conceal things on your face, then you need it to match your skin tone exactly. It can't be lighter, because obviously if you've got a spot and you're applying concealer that is like 3 times lighter, it's going to make the spot stand out even more. So always sort of match it to your skin colour. So let's show you different ways to apply concealer, because there are numerous ways. So let's make a start. The first one, and I'm going to be using a combination of concealers and correctors for you. And you can go, you can use concealer the same shade as your foundation, or you can go lighter if you want. It's up to you. And the first one I'm going to do is with a stippling brush. And I'm going to apply the concealer really, really heavily underneath the eye area, and you can see also that I'm extending it out as well up here. So this is, let's just call this method 1. And I'm going to take a brush, Ray Morris stippling brush, and just spray it with a bit of water, and then with a stippling brush in a circular motion I'm just going to blend this all in. And this is a great way of using a corrector or a concealer that is much lighter, because as you can see here, what it does is it disperses it over the eye area and across the cheek, giving you that kind of Kim Kardashian look. And this is definitely the way to do that look. So there you go. That's method 1. Okay, method 2, going to use my fingers again. You can use a brush if you want, and we're going to apply concealer underneath the eye, the same sort of method, but this time we're going to blend it out with a wet sponge. And I really like a damp sponge, and I'm using a concealer as opposed to a corrector for this side. And you can extend it out all the way if you want to, if you really want that kind of, you know, as I mentioned, that Kim Kardashian kind of look. But the reason I'm also using excess kind of concealer is because I want you to know you don't have to, if you go overboard with it, you can correct it, you can blend it. Damp sponge, it's got to be wet, because a dry sponge absorbs too much and it doesn't shear it out. You notice as well when I'm doing this that I'm patting and pressing the concealer. I'm not sort of swiping it across, and it's a good idea to get into the habit of stippling, because this makes the concealer a lot nicer and easier on the skin than that kind of motion. So blend it in. Okay, method 3. Let me just brush over my eyes with a bit more just standard foundation, and this is Ket and the Reese Cream Foundation, and I'm doing this just because I want the concealer to adhere to something. Obviously if you're using a powder foundation, it makes more sense to use a powder concealer, especially if you're doing it. Okay, method 3. Now I haven't mentioned it, but I think it's probably best to, if you're using a powder foundation, then it's best to do your concealer first, because obviously the creamier the product, we want that to kind of glide on the skin. So if you're going to use a powder foundation over your concealer, then you do that first. I'm going to use a brush this time, and rather than going across the face in that kind of Kim Kardashian glow, what we're going to do here is just kind of draw into the corner of the eye. Now, a great way, and I think a lot of people forget this, go into the inner corner here, right in close here, and then just bring it down just into that dark area here. Let me zoom in a little bit, I think, and then you can kind of maybe see a bit better. So just take it right into the inner corner here and then down. Now you can use a wet sponge, a damp sponge, or your finger, and now just press to blend that colour in. And you can extend it if you want. And there's something I'm going to mention is, if you concealer and you're going right the way across here, then when you do your eye makeup, it's really important that you put mascara on your lower lashes and a tiny hint of colour, something like a taupe, underneath the eye, because bringing the concealer right up to the lash line can absolutely close the eye in. Okay, the 4th way, and this is kind of that, this is, I think personally, this is what is more taught in makeup schools as a way of doing concealer. I prefer the patting it all the way across and stippling brush because I think it looks beautiful, but this is another way. What you need to do is look straight ahead and then look down. You can kind of see the bag, kind of the darkness popping out at you. So you just want to put the concealer just where the dark kind of line or dark circle is. And then you can use your finger to kind of powder press that in, but using a cotton bud, just spray it a little bit with water to moisten it up. And then what you want to do is take that concealer with this cotton bud and very, very lightly just blend it down and in. Because it just gives it such an airbrush finish. So you're going to put the concealer on straight away with your finger or just use the brush. I'm just going to use the brush. Get a little bit of product here, warm it up on the back of your hand, and then just take it inside here, the inside corner, or wherever you want to cover. Remember, we're just talking about covering darkness here. We can talk about covering eye bags and that kind of stuff as we go along. You can use your finger or just kind of use the brush, and it's such a lovely brush to apply concealer with. It really, really is. Always remember that this area here is one of the darkest areas, so, you know, brighten it up. Okay, and that completes how to apply concealer 5 different ways. Bye. See you next time.